Hey everyone, I'm Juliana and you're watching Sprocket Girl. Today, as you can see, I'm not on my bike, but I'm in my yoga room at home. I've been practicing yoga on and off for about 10 years now, and it's something that I try to incorporate into my life as frequently as possible. So I've noticed in my body that sometimes after a ride or during a ride, I get particularly tight in certain areas. For me personally, that includes my wrists. I get sore wrists. My upper back, neck, and shoulders from kind of pushing on the handlebars. I also get tight quads and also tight hamstrings. So for this video, I wanted to share what I typically do to stretch and lengthen my muscles after a ride or after, any kind of exercise for that matter. This video is not going to be a structured yoga class, but rather just a sequence of different poses that are kind of geared towards helping you as a biker or anyone to stretch out and make sure that your muscles stay long and healthy and that you can continue biking as a overall healthy person. So yeah, come join me on my mat. If you have a mat, that's great. Set it up anywhere that you feel comfortable. If you don't have a mat, that's fine too. You can do these exercises on the floor. Wherever you have enough room to kind of spread out would be fine. So yeah, grab some water too, and let's do this. Okay, come to a kneeling position at one end of your mat. Bring your knees out wide, toes together. Sit up straight. Take a deep breath in and lower yourself down to the ground, arms outstretched. Bring your forehead to the ground and take a couple of deep breaths here. Feel your body sinking down into this position. Try to stretch your arms out a little further if you can. And just stay here for a couple of breaths. Bend your arms with your elbows on the mat and bring your palms together above your head. Now slide your elbows forward a little bit so you get a nice stretch in your upper arms and along your sides. And now slowly start rotating your wrists. Just getting a nice stretch and some mobility in those wrists that we use a lot when we bike. Now rotate your wrists in the other direction a couple of times. And slowly plant your hands down in front of you on your mat. Take a deep breath in and rise up to a tabletop position. So you'll want your shoulders directly above your wrists and your hips above your knees. Plant the tops of your feet down onto the mat. Take a deep breath in and drop your belly down and look up. And a deep breath out and push out through your upper back. Drop your head. Deep breath in, look up, drop your belly, and a deep breath out. Push up through your upper back and drop your head. Do this one more time. Deep breath in, and a deep breath out. Now in your own time, keep doing this a couple of times. You can also find some sideways motion here. Just find what feels good for your body. You can rotate around a little bit. Just find some playful motion here. Rotating your hips and your upper back. We want to get some mobility into that spine. Come back to a neutral tabletop position, and we're going to press back into our first downward dog of this session. Plant your feet down, raise your hips up, and push back. In the beginning, just have a nice gentle bend in your knees. You don't have to stretch your legs out here. Find some motion, pedal out your feet. This doesn't have to be a static position. You can move around, bend your knees as much as you want. Once you feel like you've moved around enough, find some stillness in this position and take a couple of deep breaths here. Now walk your feet up to your hands and come to a forward fold. Bend your knees as generously as you need here Sometimes our hamstrings are really tight and it feels better to have bent knees. Take a deep breath in, come halfway up, deep breath out, forward fold, deep breath in, and rise all the way up to a mountain position, arms outstretched above you. Make sure your feet are planted solidly on the floor. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and lengthen up and over to your left. Deep breath in and out. Try to get a lot of length into your right side here. You can back off a little bit and then deepen into the pose with each breath. We want to get a nice stretch in that right side. Now the same thing on the other side. Grab your left wrist with your right hand and bend up and over to your right. Again, you can back out with every in-breath and deepen into the pose with every out-breath. Get some length in that left body side. Come back up. And we're going to do a little back bend here. Cactus your arms out to a T. And exhale back. Inhale your arms up. And exhale them back into a cactus position. Inhale up. And exhale them to a cactus T. Inhale and forward fold your arms all the way down to the ground. Bow your head down. Now step back into a plank position. We want our hips to be in one line with our shoulders and our ankles. Take your time to find your position here. Take a couple of breaths. And then on an out breath, lower yourself down all the way to the ground. Make sure you press the tops of your feet strongly into the mat. Engage your whole legs. Bring your hands out to the side, elbows pointing up. And inhale up to a super cobra. And exhale your forehead down to the mat. Inhale back up to super cobra. And exhale your forehead down to the mat. And last one, inhale up to super cobra. Nice stretch in your upper back. And exhale your forehead back down. Now bring your left palm right in front of you. Put your forehead on the back of your hand. Bend your right knee. Grab your right ankle with your right hand and pull it towards your rear end. Take a couple of breaths here. You'll feel a nice stretch through your quad. Now let go of your foot. Make sure it doesn't slingshot back to the ground. And we'll switch sides. Bring your right hand under your forehead and grab your left ankle with your left hand. Same thing. Pull it towards your left butt cheek and feel a nice stretch through your left quad. One more breath here. And now this time we'll do the same thing on both sides at the same time. Reach around, grab your right ankle with your right hand, forehead on the ground, or you can look to the side and feel a stretch through both of your quads. A couple more breaths here in this position. And on the next inhale, plant your hands down, plant your feet, and press up and back into a downward dog position again. Inhale in and raise your left leg up to the sky. Bend your knee, touch your knee to your nose, straighten your leg out behind you again, and step your foot up between your palms to a low lunge position. Make sure your footing is good here, and rise up to a high lunge with your arms above your head. Make sure your left knee is directly above your left ankle. Make sure your pelvis is not tilted forward, but instead try to lengthen your tailbone down, rise up tall, and your pelvis should be in one line with your shoulders. This way you can feel a nice stretch through the front of your right leg, and especially through the right hip flexors, which can often feel really tight. Take a couple more breaths here in this position. If you feel wobbly, that's okay. Just try to find your balance, or you can step your right foot out to the side a little bit more to widen your stance. On an exhale, lower your arms back down to the ground. Place your palms down. Step your left foot back into a plank and lower down all the way down to the ground. Arms out to super cobra position. Inhale your upper body up and exhale back down and push yourself back into downward dog again. Again, your knees can be bent. That's perfectly fine. Now inhale your right leg up to the sky. Exhale, bend it. Try to touch your nose with your knee. Inhale your right leg back up and step up between your palms, low lunge. Brush any debris off of your mat if necessary. And make sure your knee is above your right ankle. And inhale your arms up. Again here, make sure you're not tilting your pelvis forward, but that it's in one nice line with your shoulders and your wrists above your head. Again here, you'll feel a nice stretch through your left leg, the front of your left leg, and your hip flexors. That should feel really good, especially after a long day of biking. Take a couple more breaths in this position and exhale your arms down to the ground, plant your palms and step back to plank. On your next exhale, lower yourself all the way to the ground. Press the tops of your feet into the mat, strong legs, arms out to the side, and inhale up to a super cobra here. Nice long neck. Exhale back down. And again, push yourself back, hips up into a downward dog position. Take a breath here, find a little bit of stillness. And then slowly look forward and walk your feet up to meet your palms. Come to a forward fold at the top of your mat, turn 90 degrees, and let your head hang down. Get a nice stretch through those hamstrings. Halfway lift up, and exhale back down to a forward fold. And inhale your arms all the way up above your head, and down to your sides. Now step your feet out wider than hip width. Adjust your clothing if necessary. And inhale your arms up to a 5-pointed star position. And exhale down. We'll do a wide-legged forward fold here. Now, if this is too much on your inner thighs, you can grab something like a block. It can even be a book, and bring it in front of you. And this way you can bring the ground closer to yourself, and you don't have to bend as far forward. You can even bring something taller, whatever feels right to you in this position. And then try to relax your head down, your neck down. You should feel a nice stretch through your inner thighs here. Now bring your upper body towards one foot, try and grab your ankle, and then towards the other foot. Get a nice stretch through your legs here, and then come back to center. Inhale up to a halfway lift in this position. And exhale yourself back down. And then inhale, toe heel your feet back together to a forward fold. Inhale all the way up and exhale your arms down. Now come to a seated position on your mat and grab a block if you can, or it can be something like a blanket. You can even grab some books that you have handy, anything that you could use to potentially elevate your hips a little bit. A seated forward bend on the ground can be a little bit tough on really tight hamstrings, so it helps to elevate your hips up. So here I'm sitting on a book. If you want to be a little bit higher, take a block. Just find whatever feels good for you. You also don't have to sit on anything if you have particularly flexible hips and hamstrings that are not tight. I'm going to settle for a blanket here, which is nice and soft. So get yourself settled in with your legs straight out in front of you, straight back. Find some brightness through your feet. Flex your feet. Strong legs. Inhale your arms up and exhale them forward as far as you can go. If you can't touch your feet, that's perfectly fine. We just want to get a nice stretch through those hamstrings and the lower back. Take a couple breaths here. Inhale back off a little bit and exhale. Try to relax into this position as far as you can. You don't have to reach for anything. Where you are at the moment is perfectly fine. It also helps if you feel like your head is dangling in midair to grab something like a block or a book or anything that's nearby that you could rest your forehead on. That sometimes feels really good. Now take a couple more breaths in this position. Try to really relax into this position, especially your neck and upper back. One more breath here. Then remove that block and come to a seated cobbler's position. So bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet together in front of you, and your knees will flop out to the sides. Now, if you are not able to bend forward in this position, that's perfectly fine. Just stay where you are. We want to try and feel a nice stretch through the inner thighs. If you can bend forward, then on your next exhale, grab on to your toes and bend your body, your upper body forward. Try to deepen into this position as much as you can. You can use your elbows to even assist your knees out to the sides. And exhale your head down. Again, here you can grab a block to help keep your head relaxed and your neck relaxed. Take a couple more breaths here, wherever you're at. Try to relax those legs. Then inhale, remove the block if you had one. Come to any cross-legged position that's comfortable for you, and we're going to do eagle arms in this position. We want to stretch our upper back and our neck. This is going to feel really good, especially for people with tight necks and upper backs. So bring your left arm underneath your right arm and try to twist your arms around each other so that your palms meet. This should feel really good on your upper back and neck. Draw your scapula down on your back, so your shoulder blades down your back. And you can kind of move your neck around here just to get a nice stretch through your neck as well. Take a couple more breaths here. I'm going to move to the side a bit so you can see me better. Give that neck a little loving, little stretch. And release your arms. Inhale, and then bring your right arm beneath your left. Same thing on the other side. Try to bring your palms together and draw your shoulder blades, your scapula down your back. Again, here you can move your head around a little bit. Find a nice juicy stretch through that neck as well. I get particularly tight in those areas with the neck and shoulder, So this feels really good to me. So release your arms now, and we're going to do somewhat of a counter stretch. So bring your arms behind you, clasp your hands, and lengthen your arms down without arching your lower back too much. This should feel really good on your shoulders and your pecs. Try to draw your arms and your clasped hands behind you. You can move your head around here again if that feels good, if that feels like a good neck stretch. Just try and find what feels good for your body today. So that's it for today. Thanks everyone for joining me for this little yoga session. I'll see you next time. Namaste.